Hey, how's it going, everybody? It is Josh Thomas here from TheBitBlock, and today I'm going to be doing a video that I promised a few nights ago. I'm going to be talking about things that I don't like about the Nintendo Switch. I'll be honest with you, I've been lying this whole time. I actually think the Switch is a piece of crap, and I've just been saying that I like it so that I can get views. So, bye everybody! Okay, that was a joke. Calm down, relax. I really do love the Switch. I'm so excited about it, and making a list of 5 things that I don't like about the Switch, to be totally honest with you, I kind of had to pad the list a little bit here. I couldn't even think of 5 things I didn't like. I did 15 things that I love about Switch, and that was actually really easy to come up with, but it was hard to think of 5 things that I don't like, so yeah. Alright, all joking aside, let's get into it. Okay, first thing I do not like about the Nintendo Switch, you have to pay to play online. I don't like that. I know that it kind of makes sense for other systems like the Xbox and the PlayStation because they have a more hardcore audience. They have a more like dedicated gamer audience, so they will pay for that kind of stuff. But I just think Nintendo has a more... They have that audience in some way, but I think they have a more mainstream audience, and so I feel bad because it's like little Billy, who's 14 years old, that wants to play Mario Kart 8 Deluxe online or Splatoon 2 online. It's probably going to be hard for him to convince his parents to pay an extra, like, $60 a year so that he could do that, right? Parents don't even really, like... It's hard enough for a kid to get their parents to buy them a game, and now they have to convince their parents to pay for online. The parents aren't going to understand that, and I think that's something Nintendo needs to consider, whereas, like, Microsoft and Sony don't really need to consider that as much. So I do think it's going to make the amount of people playing online on the Switch obviously fewer than what there would be if it were free. And Nintendo just hasn't had a history of showing us that their online is good enough to pay for. It's going to be really hard for Nintendo to convince people that what they were getting for free in the past is now worth money and we have to pay for it. I'm going to do it just because, you know, I run a Nintendo channel, but I just don't think it really sits right for Nintendo. And, you know, we'll see, but it just... not something I love. So, and like the whole app thing, the idea that they've got an app that's going to be used as their online infrastructure, and that's how you're going to apparently chat. There's some rumors that you can still chat using a headset or something. I don't know. It's just the whole app thing, I'm not sure. That could end up being really cool, and almost even something that maybe Microsoft and Sony make their own version of. Maybe it could be that good and that cool and new, but I don't know. Nintendo and online... I don't like having to pay for online. It's going to make less people playing online, which means a less enjoyable experience for me because there's less people to find. So yeah, I don't know about that. Next up, let's be honest, there is a somewhat weak launch lineup for the Switch. Sure, there are some cool games out there. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is a massive game. That's going to be huge. But it's really kind of the only big game that's launching with the Switch. And I guess you could say that's enough. I mean, it's maybe the best Zelda game ever. I haven't played it yet, but it very well could be. Nintendo said it's the biggest game they've ever worked on, so that's good news. But other than that, it's kind of like smaller things, not a lot of stuff to get very, very excited about. I'm going to definitely buy 1-2 Switch, Breath of the Wild. I'm going to get the Bomberman game. I'm going to get Snipper Clips, which sounds like it actually is going to be launch day, which is very cool. And then, you know, like I'm going to probably get Puyo Puyo from Japan. I'll go on the Japanese eShop and download that. But... you know, Puyo Puyo is the type of thing, and Bomberman is the type of thing I probably wouldn't normally buy. Like, if those games came out 1 or 2 years into the Switch's life, I might not be as interested as I am now. But just because I really want as much stuff as possible that's decent to play, I'm going to buy them. But I do wish that there were... I wish there was, like, 1 or 2 better launch games to go alongside Zelda. Although I gotta be honest, Snipper Clips is pretty amazing. I'm pretty excited about that. See, even when I'm trying to say what I don't like about the Switch, I accidentally talk about stuff I do like. But yeah, I think ARMS should have been launched. ARMS would have been a great launch game. It's got the motion, and of course you can play it normal, like, you know, with a standard controller. But I just think that's the kind of game that would have been cool for launch to show off the HD rumble and the motion control and stuff. It just would have been a fun multiplayer launch game. I wish it were ready for launch. But yeah, launch games are a little not that great. Next up, where's the Virtual Console? This thing launches in literally a month. The Switch launches in a month and we don't even know, like, is there a Virtual Console? The eShop is apparently going to be available from day one, so what's going on there? Are there going to be virtual console games? Are they just going to be the same boring ones that we've been sold on like 3 other systems in the past? The Wii, the Wii U, 3DS? Like, do I really want to buy Super Mario Brothers 3 again? No, I don't. So, basically what I'm getting at here is like, what's the virtual console going to consist of? Are there going to be GameCube games? Because there should be. Why haven't you talked about this yet, Nintendo? It launches in a month! Talk about virtual console! Jesus. I can't believe that. They talked about the virtual console for the Revolution, which ended up being the Wii, before they even talked about the name of the system. And now it launches in a month and we don't even know. I will be majorly disappointed if there's no GameCube games available for the virtual console. And if there's no virtual, like let's say there are going to be GameCube games, but not until like late summer or like a year from now. That's dumb. This is a totally new system. One of the problems with the Wii U, among many, was there was no GameCube on Virtual Console. And it was like, I don't know why that was. Maybe it wasn't powerful enough to emulate them, or there wasn't something going on with triggers or whatever. But this is a totally new system, and GameCube Virtual Console should have been considered from day one. So, talk about the Virtual Console, Nintendo. It's time. Let's hear it. I would bet there's probably going to be a Nintendo Direct before the launch of this thing. And I would assume that will be when they detail stuff like this. So, please, Nintendo, GameCube Virtual Console. But for now, that is something that's disappointing me about the Switch. Next up, this is number 4. New Donk City. I love the name. I love how it's basically a big giant meme with Mario running around in a real world. But at the same time, everything I've seen about New Donk City, it doesn't look fun. It doesn't look like a fun environment to run around in as Mario. Like, I've even given it I've given it a chance. I've watched as many videos as possible. You know, I've watched the trailer, and then there was like a little demonstration of the controls in the Japanese presentations, like afterwards. And it just, like, Mario's controls look fantastic. I love all the moves Mario can do, but New Donk City doesn't look fun. It looks boring. I don't want to explore a realistic city with Mario. That's a dumb idea. Now, a cartoony city, that would have been cool. But New Donk City, I love the name. It's such a dumb, silly name. And I love the idea that it's got all this Donkey Kong stuff in it, like little subtle things. But at the same time, I don't like real humans in Mario games. And I just don't think it works. I love Super Mario Odyssey, though. So for all of you guys on GameFAQs that are writing up a post right now saying Josh Thomas from TheBitBlock hates Super Mario Odyssey, no. I just don't really like New Donk City that much. Maybe I'll change my opinion eventually, but I don't know. Just doesn't look fun. Realistic setting for Mario? No. Every other level looks amazing, though. And again, I love the meme value of New Donk City. I appreciate that, but it just doesn't look fun. Finally, the last thing to complain about. And again, you know, like this list I actually had to pad a bit, but 30 frames per second in Zelda and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I don't really like that. I think Mario Kart 8 Deluxe especially should be running at 60 frames per second at all times. Now, wait a minute. You're about to type that comment. I know you right there. You're going to leave that comment and be like, but Josh, actually, according to the Treehouse Live segment, it runs at 60 frames per second at all times. No, that's false information. It runs at 30 frames per second if you play 3 to 4 players, okay? So if you want to play 3 to 4 players locally, it's going to chug along at a crappy 30 frames per second. That's not what you want in a racing game. Mario Kart 8 for the Wii U did the same thing. And it was one of the reasons that myself and friends never played Mario Kart 8 together locally. We went back to Double Dash, because Double Dash on the GameCube runs at 60 frames per second with 4 people. So why can't this version? It doesn't make any sense. So yeah, and then Zelda, you know, I mean, it does look improved on the Switch, but I kind of wish that it was running at 60 frames a second. I feel like that should have been something the Switch should really be striving for. 1080p, 60 frames per second, that's what I want to be the standard for Switch games. So, I don't know, I'm a little disappointed to see that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, particularly in 3 to 4 players, still runs at 30. That seems weird to me. And again, I feel like I'm kind of grasping at straws on this one. Because I can always, what I plan to do with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe when I play with friends locally is I'll have like Nick bring his Switch over and he'll just play in the handheld mode. And then like me and another friend will play on the TV split screen. And then we'll just like connect online or something. And I'm pretty sure that'll get you 60 frames per second. So yeah, 60 frames per second is a luxurious, wonderful frame rate. That's what you should always be striving for. 30 frames per second, not good anymore. We've evolved beyond that, especially in a racing game. I mean, come on. So, that is my 5 things I don't like about the Nintendo Switch. Feel free to leave a comment below and talk about how Josh is always negative, despite the fact that Josh has been very positive. And then feel free to go to those videos where I'm positive and say that I'm a fanboy and I'm just kissing Nintendo's butt and making excuses. It's weird to be me. It's very weird to be Josh Thomas. You love the Switch, you adore the Switch, but when you talk about that, people say you're a fanboy. But then, when you say the things you don't like about Nintendo, like during the whole generation of the Wii U, you're too negative. So I can't win. I'm either very hot or very cold. Maybe I just won't care anymore. That's the answer. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Feel free to leave a comment or two below and let me know some of the things that maybe you don't like about the Switch. I don't know, I feel like the whole internet's already done that, so maybe don't do that. Maybe leave a comment below about how there's a Donald Trump bobblehead over there. That seems to be a very common thing. It doesn't bobble if you don't actually touch it, but it looks like I'm touching it. Anyways guys, thank you for watching. Oh! There's little eyeballs down there from the Super Mario Odyssey hat. They've been staring at me the whole time. That's what the comments are going to be about, not the bobblehead. That's pretty amazing. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for a lot more on Nintendo Switch right here at the BitBlock.